Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the first video that I've made since my hiatus, apart from my ATAR reaction video, which I don't really count as a video because that was more of a reaction. But I just thought I would come on today and speak from the heart, speak honestly, and sort of explain myself and explain why I have been absent from this YouTube channel for so long. And I thought I would just explain what I've been getting up to this year. So this was my final year of high school, and I had to take all my final exams this year. And I knew from the start of this year, from the start of high school, literally from the start of year 7, that I wanted to do medicine. So this was always going to be a really tough year for me because I knew I had to lock in, like I had never locked in before. I had to reach like God, like Cynthia Erivo, like, you know, this meme, like I had to transcend to a higher plane to reach that level of locked inness to be able to get into medicine. So that's what I knew I had to do from the start of this year. And I tried my best to maintain my YouTube channel, but unfortunately editing videos takes up 3 hours of my time each week, and that just wasn't feasible when I was studying so long every day to get into med. So unfortunately my YouTube channel had to be sacrificed this year. So that's what I was doing. That's the too long don't read version, but I thought I would just go through in depth what I was actually doing this year, and I wrote everything I want to talk about down on the sticky note. So I'm gonna stick that here. Oh shit, I just like unclipped this microphone that my dad put in for like the headset thing. I'm gonna put my phone into do not disturb because I don't want to be disturbed during this conversation. So I'm just going to start from the start of the year. So as I said earlier, I really came into this year knowing what I wanted to do, knowing that medicine was the path for me. And medicine is such a competitive course to get into anywhere. It's very competitive to get into in Australia, and you have to take 2 exams, or 2 types of exams, and as well as an interview. So the first exam is something called the UCAT, which is something like the MCAT in America. I think the test format is totally different, but it's basically like an aptitude test to get in, and that's a very difficult exam. Then you also have to do your final exams, so your ATAR, my VCE exams, and that was like biology, chemistry, English, like those kinds of subjects, maths, and I had to do really well in those as well to get into medicine. And then on top of that, if you do well in those 2 stages, and you move on to the last stage, which is the interview, and then if you do well in the interview, then you get a spot in medicine, and they're all weighted equally, like 1/3. So I knew that each section of this like admissions process needed to be up to scratch, and I couldn't really fall behind on any of them. Also, today I literally got my wisdom tooth extracted, this one, so if I'm talking a bit funnily, that's why. Probably shouldn't even be talking right now, but I took 2 Advil, so I feel fine. So from the start of this year, I kind of eased into it, and then it was like go go go. I went to Japan in April, which is crazy. That feels like actually a lifetime ago now, and I actually celebrated my birthday in Japan. And did my grades take a bit of a hit? Yes. I think my English SAC, my first English SAC my second one took a bit of a hit when we studied the film Sunset Boulevard. But do I regret it? Absolutely not, because I learned so many valuable things about myself on that trip. Like, I really went to Japan and realized things. So I really like examined my relationship with my own culture, because we learn a lot about Japanese culture, and that's quite similar to Chinese culture in a lot of ways, like East Asian cultures. And I was like, you know what, I think I do want to incorporate more of a connection to my culture in my life and feel that sense of community and belonging that I don't necessarily have, because my family's not particularly religious. It's not like we're going to the temple every week. So I guess I knew I wanted to feel that feeling more often. The second thing about going to Japan was meeting my host family. So I hosted my host brother in 2024, which is now 2 years ago, which is crazy. And I did vlog that, so you can go watch those vlogs. But this time I went to Japan and I met my host family, and they were so incredibly welcoming. I had an amazing time with them. My host brother had a twin brother and an older sister as well. And we had the best time, and it was just such a good experience. I would not trade it for the world. I think that was genuinely the best thing I did this year. That was the highlight of my like entire high school experience, definitely. So I went to Japan, and the thing is, I was even studying UCAT in Japan, and I was studying in Japan when I was there. I literally brought my laptop, and I would do, because UCAT's online, so I would do the UCAT at my host family's house on the dinner table. Because like I just couldn't take a break from it, because it's more of like a skills test. So if you take a break from it from a long period of time, you will lose those skills, unfortunately. So that's what I was doing in Japan. But I had a great time. And then I came back, and it was also once again go, go, go. I think at this point I was doing 30 minutes of UCAT every day, and I would maybe miss a day or two. But then in May, I think it was 3 months out from my exam in July, I think. And wait, May? July, that does not make sense. Wait, July, sorry, April. Yeah, because July is 3 months. Yeah, okay. And from 100 days out from my exam, I started to do 1 hour a day of UCAT. And that was on top of balancing all my other subjects. And it was very hectic. There was a period of time where, for some reason, for some unknown reason, my school puts all of our internal assessments on one specific week at the end of term 2. And so we have to do all of our internal assessments on that week. Then we go into 2 weeks of school holidays. But then at the end of those 2 weeks of school holidays was my UCAT exam. So I literally went from studying like crazy for my internal assessments to doing 2 weeks of 8-hour days of UCAT, 6 to 8 hours every single day, no breaks. Then I sat my UCAT exam, and then I went back to school. And on the first 2 weeks, I had an English SAC and a maths method SAC. So that was literally the most stressful period of my life. I think I genuinely got grey hairs from that week. I think I broke out from acne. I think my skin dried up. I think my mental health went down the actual toilet for that week, for that month. And that was honestly the worst period of my life. I can confidently say that. Luckily though, I got a high enough UCAT. I got 93rd percentile, which was like cutting it close. Like that's not the best score ever. That's not, usually you do need 93rd and above, so I really scraped the edge there. But I was just grateful for that score. I was like, I'm still in the running, I'm still competitive. And that was after studying. I can literally tell you how many hours of UCAT I studied this year. That was after studying, last year, because this is 2026. That was after studying 338 hours and 55 minutes of UCAT. If you want to see my wait, does this have any information? No. If you want to see my study breakdown, you can read that. I don't even know if you can see that, but if not, I'll screenshot it afterwards. So I studied so much UCAT just to get 93rd percentile, which I was not incredibly happy about, but I was like, you know what, it's enough. I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to count my lucky stars today and just move on with my life. So that's what I did, and I worked hard for my ATAR. I was so stressed all the time. Multiple times this year and last year, last year and the year before when I was in year 11, the teachers would come up to me and ask me, are you okay? Are you stressed? And my bio teacher literally emailed my parents because I replied to her Teams post at 1 a.m. and she was like, you should not be studying at 1 a.m. And then my English teacher also asked the same thing. She was like, are you okay? You look stressed. And same with my psychology teacher. So my psychology teacher was literally like, us teachers, we talk, we worry about our students, and, we know that you can get a bit anxious sometimes. Are you okay? And I was like, why do I have the reputation of being the anxious student amongst the teachers? Why is this my reputation? So I guess I just looked really, really stressed at school because I was always really, really stressed this year. I was always sleep deprived. I felt like my cortisol levels were through the roof for the entire year. I literally would just wake up, study, scroll TikTok to numb my brain, and then just go to school, and my sleep was so bad. I wasn't eating well. I gained so much weight this year. I was a wreck this year, pretty much. And I just dedicated myself to my studies because I knew that I needed to hit all 3 categories to get into medicine. So, and funnily enough, after my chemistry exam, that was my second last exam, right? So I had 1 more week, and then I had my Japanese exam. And on that week, I just literally, that's when I found out about Heated Rivalry, the audiobook series, or the book series, which I listened to on Spotify, and I was obsessed. So I literally spent that week blinds down in my bedroom, lying in my bed under the covers with my AirPods in, listening to Heated Rivalry for 1 week, and like all the audiobooks in that series. If you don't know what I'm talking about the gay hockey show that everyone's been obsessed about, but the book series. And then literally when I finished that, that's when the TV show came out. And so now this obsession's been going on for 2 months, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. I'm going to be obsessed for like my entire life, like Hades Town level obsession. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what happened this year. So I was lucky to get, if you saw in my previous video, a really good ATAR that I was really happy with. It wasn't the highest ever, but I will freaking take that. I will be grateful. Who's texting me? Okay. My mum's texting me to eat soy milk jelly because I can't eat solid food right now since I got wisdom tooth surgery. But basically, oh yeah, I passed on to the interview stage, thank goodness. And I'm happy to report that I did get a spot in medicine. I was offered a spot in the extended rural cohort, which I was really happy about, and I'm going to be a medical student in 2026. So I was really, really, really relieved when I got that news, and I was really, really happy. But I do want to say, if you didn't make it into medicine undergrad, it's really tough. Like, I know that I would be devastated. The night before, I was mentally preparing myself for the news that I didn't get a spot in medicine, and like, it's heartbreaking because you put so much time, you invest so much emotional labor, intellectual labor, you put your hopes and your dreams and all your eggs in the medicine basket because you can't half-ass your medicine prep or you're never going to get in. And it's really hard if you fall short. Like, it does feel very, very sad. And if that's what's happened to you, I know it's very hard right now. I know it's very difficult to get through this time. But if you want to get into med, if you want to be a doctor, you will be a doctor. Personally, for me, I walked out of the womb knowing I wanted to be a doctor. Like, I dressed up as a surgeon in primary school. All throughout high school, when I walked into those doors of my local high school in year 7, because high school starts in year 7 in Australia, I knew I wanted to do medicine. And if you have that level of determination and you know what you want, you will get into medicine post-grad. You will, or undergrad if you retake the UCAT, right? There are so many alternate pathways for you to get into medicine. If you really want it, you will get it. And I firmly believe that people who go into medicine, they do it because they can't think about any other career plan. Like, personally for me, I know that I would not be happy doing any other job, and medicine is the only job I can see myself doing. I love medicine. I love everything about medicine. I love science pertaining to the human body. I love talking to people, listening to people, and I simply could not trade that for any other career, even if it made me way more money, even if it wasn't as hard, even if I didn't have to do on-call and night shifts and work weekends and through public holidays. I would not trade that for anything. Like, I literally think medicine is the career for me. And if that is you, you will make it into medicine. Now, that being said, I did get into medicine, so I'm very thankful, very grateful. I woke up and the first thing I did was check my phone, and I saw the email. I pressed on it and I was just relieved. I was so relieved. And I was like, thank you. So the program that I got into is called the Extended Rural Cohort, where I do 2 years of preclinical in Melbourne, in Monash Uni Clayton, and then I go to the country for 2.5 years to do my clinical placements. So usually you do metro placements, but I got the rural spot, which was actually my first preference originally, and then I changed it to my second preference because people around me was like, are you crazy? Why are you putting rural as your first preference? But I talked to a few people who did this rural cohort thing, and they loved it. Everyone who did it loved it. They said so many great things about it. Everyone loved the rural experience. You get a lot more practical experience because there's just less people on the medical team, so you get to do bloods and injections way earlier than if you were metro. But the trade-off is that you get to see less specialties because in the country there are less specialty doctors than in the city. So there are benefits and there are drawbacks, but I thought that this would be perfect for me, and I'm so grateful that I got the spot that I wanted in the end. And so I'm feeling incredibly blessed and lucky and just relieved, and I feel like now I can finally let my hair down. I feel like Meredith Grey, like this year I felt like Meredith Grey with the tightest ponytail I ever had, and I feel like I just let my hair down. That's like the analogy that I'm going to go with. So, very grateful that I got into med. Very grateful that my medical admissions journey is over. It was the most stressful period of my life. This year was so freaking bad. It was so shit. I had no mental health, no life. I punished my body this year. And I'm not proud of that, but that's what I did. Like, I did what I had to do to get into medicine. And so, that being said, I am not repeating this ever again. I told myself, if I get into medicine, I promise myself that I will never treat myself the way I did that I did in year 12, because it's just simply unhealthy. It's unsustainable. I'm gonna burn out if I can keep that up. I will lose passion for life in this world if I continue like how I did this year. So I have some goals that I want to set for 2026. And I think this is a perfect video to do that. My main goal is to simply be more creative, right? I think, and I was thinking about this before I even got my med offer. I was like, I need a reason to live if I don't get into medicine. I need a reason to get out of bed and to be excited about life that does not pertain to my career. And for some people, that's family. Personally, I'm not at that stage. I'm literally 18 years old. I don't have children or anything. And I was like, you know what? After I watched Heated Rivalry and got obsessed with the cinematography and the writing and the books, I was like, you know what? I want a creative side project. I want something to work on, to be proud of, other than just my career. And so I started a blog. I posted on my Instagram my first blog post, so check that out if you want. It was all about my word for 2026, which is whimsy maxing. And I just want to be more creative this year and put less eggs in my career basket and more eggs in my creativity basket and my mental health basket and my physical health basket. So what does being creative look like for me in 2026? Well, I mentioned earlier I started a blog, and that is because I believe that my creative outlet is actually writing. I have always been a reader since primary school. I read so many books in primary school. I read fiction and non-fiction, and I just remember like my teacher reading out my narrative writing in grade 3. Writing, I think, carried my year 12. I think that's genuinely what got me my ATAR because of my English score. And so I was like, it would be such a shame if my writing ability just withered away and atrophied after year 12 because I just simply didn't write anymore. And I was like, you know what? I want to nurture this ability. I want to develop my writing skills. I want to improve my writing and really take it to the next level. So I was like, I'll do it in a few ways. So for personal writing and more opinionated opinion piece writing, I'll write it on my blog. I want to write a fiction novel at some point. I have like a rough idea of some ideas in my head, some like narrative structures, but I haven't really come up with any solid ideas. I know that I want to write about characters. I know that I want to almost take this as like a character study and understand the psychology behind people who are not me. And that's very difficult. And I haven't thought of a compelling idea yet that has made me inspired, but hopefully I come up with that soon. I want to write a short film. I want to try screen/script writing this year. And I would like to film that and with my friends and put that onto YouTube hopefully one day. I want to get into songwriting. I've never done songwriting in my life. I literally don't even write poetry, so I don't know how I'm going to go about that. But I love the idea of writing a concept album, which if you don't know what a concept album is, it's basically an album that has some sort of like arc throughout the album. And a great example of that would be Lord's Melodrama, Lily Allen's West End Girl. They're all concept albums because, like, for Lily Allen's West End Girl, it's all about her being in an unhappy marriage where she forces herself into non-monogamy to comfort her husband and to satisfy her husband, but in the end she just becomes betrayed to the point where she doesn't even recognize herself. And then also how she gets past that and how she recovers from this crumbling marriage. And I guess that's the narrative arc of that album. And I was like, a lot of musicals also start off as concept albums. Hadestown started off as a concept album telling the story of Orpheus and Eurydice through song and lyric. And I was like, that would be such a cool challenge because I have to not only write the song, but also write the music, which I've never written music before, but I love music. I have a passion for music. So I was like, that is a far off in the future kind of goal. Hopefully I can do that this year though, because that would be really fantastic. And I also want to get into photography and videography because, you know, obviously I love this YouTube channel. I love watching film and TV. And so I would love to get more into photography and videography. And I need to buy a camera. So I'm going to have to get a job soon. I hope I can get a job as a tutor because that pays more than working at Macca's. And then I'll save up for a camera and buy that. So those are my creative aspirations this year. And you might be asking, like, aren't you a med student? Like, how are you going to have time for that? And the reason why I'll have time for that is because at the medical school that I will be attending, the exams are actually all pass-fail, and they are multiple choice, which is crazy. I saw on the website, and basically what they said was, you've already proven yourself to get in through this grueling admissions process. You already proved that you can work hard under pressure and that you can get those high scores. So there's actually limits to how beneficial a competitive environment would be in that setting. Like, once you're already in a cohort full of the smartest people in the state, it's not that useful to be competitive. And I was like, that's so true. Like, I don't want competition. Like, I am so sick and tired of competing and studying really hard. Like, I just want to learn for the sake of learning. Learn because I want to be a doctor. Learn because I love medicine. Not learn because I need to do this freaking exam to get into medicine, which has nothing to do with medicine itself. And it's just like, so frustrating. So genuinely, I'm like so grateful that the medical school is just pass-fail and that they focus more on learning for the sake of learning rather than learning to rank highly. So that's why I'll have more time. Everyone who has done med has told me that the first and second years are chill. So I'm going to be taking this extra time I have to be more creative, to write more, to, you know that song from Hamilton that's like, how do you write? Like, you're running out of time. Like, imagine that, but that's like my whole year. Like, I just want to write all the time, hopefully. And I want to create. I want to film. I want to document. I also want to vlog still, right? Like, okay, maybe this is a good time to talk about what this YouTube channel and what my social media pages might look like. But basically, I'm not really interested in just making only study vlogs from now on. In year 11, in year 10, year 9, I made study vlogs because I wanted to motivate myself as well as other people to study hard because my goal was to get into medicine. But now my goal has changed because I've achieved that goal and I want to do the next goal, which is to be creative. So yes, I will film more study vlogs. And yes, I will film, still I'll try to keep it real on this channel and show the struggle of being a medical student, show that people are actually trying, because this was actually one of the reasons why I wanted to start this, right? I wanted to show that people don't just do hard things because they're really naturally talented. Like, people don't just get into medicine because they are really smart naturally. No, people get in because they work hard. And Taylor Swift has brought this up before. I think I saw an interview with Ocean Vuong mentioning this before. But people are afraid to show that they are trying hard. People are afraid to show that they are try hard. They don't want to be called a try hard. They don't want to be perceived as being chalant and putting their ass into everything that they do. They want to be perceived as nonchalant and mysterious and like effortlessly cool. Just a person who just casually gets into medicine. That's what people want to be seen as. And that is not realistic. That is like, it's like social media is a highlight reel. That is not realistic at all. If you want to get into medicine, you have to work your ass off to get into medicine. And I guess I want to just normalize the struggle and show that hard work, like, is the norm. And it's okay if you're not just succeeding at everything, if you're not just acing everything, because most of us aren't. And it's just that we feel too scared to show that side of ourselves because everyone is just worried about being, like, maintaining their image and maintaining their nonchalantness. So that was one reason why I wanted to start this channel. But now I'm feeling creatively inspired. I want to make short films. I want to write stuff. I want to do photography. So this channel, I don't know, I will vlog, I will document my life, but the uploads might not be consistent. I intend to post more on my Instagram because that's where I post like my blog posts, like the links to my blog posts, as well as like any photography that I'll be doing. So that's kind of the state of my social media. I don't know. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. Like what kind of content, I guess. I wouldn't really call myself like a content creator or an influencer because that's not really my goal anymore. It's like not to create content. It's mostly just to use my social media pages as a creative outlet and almost as a way to keep myself accountable because I have to post. Like for me personally, sometimes I get caught up in my head about being a perfectionist and about making sure that something is the highest quality before I put it out. And I want to tell myself, no, you are a student of creativity. Just post the damn thing. Even if it's not good. Like my first blog post, I thought was not perfect, but I was like, you know what? You've already written this, you're going to post it. Because it's through posting and through improving over time that you evolve. Like I want to look back on my social media pages and see a creative evolution. See how I improved over time. Anyways, I feel like I'm just rambling now, so I'm probably going to stop recording this soon, like right now. But that's basically where I've been. I was at the pits of hell this year, but I'm ready to be back. I'm ready to be creative. I'm ready to be excited for life again. I'm ready to study medicine. I just feel so incredibly lucky. Thank you for everyone who's rooting for me. Good luck to everybody. If you're starting uni this year, good luck to you. If you're doing high school still, good luck to you. If you graduated, also good luck to you. I hope everybody achieves their dreams, and yeah, I'm excited for what this year will bring. So thank you.